These aren't the easiest of jobs, and they certainly aren't the most liked.
This is a lawyer.
Yeah, he's very good.
Oh, and you're gonna have to forfeit that bond. I was way off about that.
Thanks again, Mikey.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 hated professions.
PEO, parking enforcement officer.
A meter maid? You gotta be shitting me.
For this list, we focused on careers that are hated by the general public, either because of what the job entails or how the people in that profession treat others. For the record, we're not saying we hate these professions, but we understand why some people do.
Let me lock in that trade right now and get back to you with my secretary with an exact confirmation. Sound good, John? Great. Hey, John, thank you for your vote of confidence, and welcome to the Investors Center.
Number 10, bouncer. Are you a beefy gym enthusiast who's quick to judge people by their appearance, easily riled by loud noises, sexist in a 1950s kind of way, and/or thrive in situations of confrontation? Then this could be the job for you.
For some reason or another, he just went into World War III. It was like being back in Beirut again.
Bouncers are occasionally useful at breaking up bar fights, but those who've met their meaty fists know that most of the time they just stand around looking shady and playing God with what little power they've been given.
You're just some roided out freak with a f***ing clipboard and your stupid little f***ing rope! You know what? You may have power now, but you're not God!
No disrespect if you are a bouncer, because we know it ain't easy to deal with us when we're drunk.
You're right. I'm so sorry. I hate this job. I don't want to be the one to pass judgment, decide who gets in. Shit makes me sick in my stomach.
Number 9, mechanic.
I couldn't remember questioning him about the practices as far as sales go, and his exact words were he told me to go save the whale somewhere else, and he told me it was an upsell world.
If you think about it, a mechanic could be considered an evil genius, relying on the fact that most of us don't know a thing about fixing cars. They can tell us anything is wrong with one, and are pretty much guaranteed we won't challenge them.
The brake drums are shot, and you need a new transmission.
What? All I wanted was an oil change.
Besides, even if we did, they've probably already taken the liberty of fixing this real or imagined problem, and are gonna charge us anyway.
There's no price.
It will be.
And that's exactly why we hate them. 'Cause you can never go in needing an oil change without spending an extra grand on an axle alignment or worse.
One of the easiest things to sell is power steering fluid. Just take a sample and you can tell a person that it should be clear, you could tell a person that it should be red, or you could just go by the smell of the fluid. Smell this, the fluid's very burnt. It was a very easy sale.
Number 8, car salesperson.
The guy is a goddamn used car salesman. I mean, this keeps getting better and better.
This is kind of an easy one. The old stereotype has been around since Ford's first models went on the market.
Some cars you can drive off the lot, but hey, I'm Larry Love and I love you.
Whether you're buying new or old, there is nothing more annoying than having to deal with the greasy, money-starved salesman who would sell you cheese on wheels if it could make him a buck.
I have to admit, it's not the flyest ride on the lot, but guaranteed you here, it's the safest car on the lot. I had a crash. There we go. Had me safe.
And yes, we say him because it's not a female-heavy career path.
Bumpers have fallen off. What do I do with her? I sell her.
These are the guys that make you want to take a shower after shaking hands on a deal you're not quite sure you should have made.
He never done this before, but seeing as it's special circumstances and all, he says I can knock $100 off that True Coat.
100. You lied to me, Mr. Lundgaard.
Number 7, paparazzi. Us normal folk tend to have a hard time feeling sorry for celebrities who complain about their lives. Their hardships are usually small potatoes, but sometimes the paparazzi take it too far. Way too far. Seriously, the Kardashians or Brangelina do deserve to be able to walk the few feet from their car to a restaurant undisturbed. So, when they're assaulted by a swarm of photographers pressing their flashing cameras against their shielded faces, you can't help but pity the stars a little. Is it any wonder that the paparazzi get beat up so often?
I asked you a question. You want to apologize to her? I asked you a question.
Number 6, parking enforcement officer.
You're sitting there because you know people don't see the sign.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? Then maybe you should put the sign in a place where you can see it instead of just creating it as a fake excuse to give out tickets so you could fund yourself.
Every bit of a driver's hatred for the meter maid is well-deserved. They're the mascots of the municipality's get-rich-quick scheme to pump money back into the government.
My tire was in the red 3 inches and she gave me a ticket. She finds me every time. I asked her nicely, she just laughed.
It's a lose-lose-lose situation no matter what you do. Although having to pay parking fare and tickets sucks and contributes a ton of cash flow for the city, there's also the matter of paying the employees to carry out this useless service.
She's a meter maid. We're all officers here. You know how much revenue we bring in for this city?
And where does the money to pay the salaries of parking attendants come from? Where else but from our very own pockets?
Who decides to give people tickets for not doing their inspections in time as they're in line waiting to have inspections done on their vehicles.
Number 5, dentist.
You'll be a dentist. You have a talent for causing things. Some be a dentist. People will pay you to be inhumane.
Okay, so we may not hate dentists, but no one likes going to the dentist. Even the best practitioners inflict at least a little pain.
Should take better care of your teeth. You have quite a cavity here.
And the way they stare greedily into your mouth as if every single molar and incisor is a dollar sign can only be described as distasteful.
Okay, I became a dental assistant. It's basically the same thing, I just make a lot less money.
Their instruments of torture are merely inches away from penetrating the patient's skull. Yes, we know dentists are super important to our healthcare, but that doesn't mean we don't all fear their ability to drill into our mouths and wallets.
You know, and I pride myself on being a professional. So from now on, what I would like you to do is just tell me, you know, when and if I cross the line.
Number 4, lawyer.
I can't lie!
Commendable, Mr. Reed, but I'm still waiting to hear good cause. Now, do you have one or not?
In the 16th century, one of Shakespeare's characters famously said, "Let's kill all the lawyers." Over 400 years later, that sentiment hasn't really changed. Because of them, the many guilty have walked free and the wrongfully accused have been put behind bars. To be clear, there are some great attorneys in the world who perform their jobs nobly.
There's a big bowl of candy in my office. Why don't you go eat it?
Wayne Jarvis, attorney at law. I have a responsibility to tell you that there is no candy in this office.
However, there are many amoral, unethical, and self-serving ambulance chasers that seek only to benefit from the misfortunes of others.
Excuse me, I'm a lawyer, Gloria Allred. What the hell happened here? She slipped on that glass. Those arrogant jerks, they're gonna pay for this.
They're the ones that paint the entire profession with the hard-to-shake stereotype that probably existed since the birth of the profession.
It's all refundable, unlike my time.
It's been a complete waste of 2 hours, okay? We're just not gonna do it, and that's that. What are you doing? Are you writing 2 hours?
No, I'm taking notes on the case.
Let me just see
You're
what you just
scaring
wrote.
me.
Let me just
You
see
know
what
what?
you wrote.
Just leave it alone.
Number 3, politician.
Did you know that there are 2 kinds of Iraqistanis? Actually 3 kinds of Iraqis.
Do you mean Sunnis and Shiites and Kurds?
You knew about this?
From Adolf Hitler to John F. Kennedy, from the very extreme to the very dumb, politicians come in a wide variety of shapes and sizes. But one thing is for certain, even the most noble of leaders is hiding something.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Besides, they often make promises they can't keep, push personal agendas, take bribes, and sacrifice our natural resources.
Can you really reform Wall Street when they are spending millions and millions of dollars on campaign contributions?
Plus, some are even responsible for the deaths of millions of people. And then they have the galling charisma that gets them elected in the first place. Heck, they even vote for themselves to get regular raises while refusing to do the same for average Joes.
I believe this is the defining challenge of our time. Making sure our economy works for every working American.
Number 2, debt collector. A debt collector is kind of like the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper isn't a bad guy, he's just doing his job. It's not the debt collector's fault that you're in debt, but like the Grim Reaper, we can't help but view the collection agent with a mixture of anxiety, fear, and hatred. Okay, so you screwed up. You probably shouldn't have spent so much money. But the fact that a fellow citizen is somehow granted the authority to bully, intimidate, and threaten you is the equivalent of getting scolded by someone else's parents.
I double-checked with my bank, with online, and to please quit calling my phone. By that time, the representative acted like, oh, we could call you as many times as we want.
It's just not cool.
You talk to me like that again, you get hurt. You'll get hurt.
Before we reveal our number one pick, here are some honorable, or in this case, dishonorable mentions.
Oh, it's in the throat. It's in the throat.
The world of investing can be a jungle. Bulls, bears, danger at every turn.
Come on, Peg, I never buy anything from you. You know that.
I know.
Bye.
Bye, Helen.
This isn't boarding school, Miss Pascal. You stole from the government.
No, I didn't steal from the government. I just didn't pay you entirely.
Miss Pascal, you can't just not pay your taxes.
License and registration.
Officer, I know that...
License and registration, please.
Number 1, Telemarketer.
Point is, it doesn't matter what the they say. The only real objection that they have is that they don't trust you guys. And why should they trust you? I mean, look at you, you're a bunch of sleazy salesmen, right?
The Telemarketer. How you deserve the world's hatred.
I'm calling from Air Duct Cleaning Services. How are you doing today?
Whether you're peddling legitimate services or taking advantage of the elderly and vulnerable, there's really never a good time to get that call. In fact, telemarketing is so annoying that it's actually illegal in some places.
What we're seeing now is an influx of telemarketing calls from offshore. They're spoofing the numbers that they're using.
This seemingly soulless person on the other end of the phone inflicts on you a script that's clearly not written for a human audience.
I'm Senior Vice President of Stratton Oakmont, and I plan on being one of the top brokers of my firm next year. And I'm not gonna get there by being wrong, Stanley.
I do want to say that. You sound like a... You sound like a pretty sincere guy.
And they also somehow manage to hypnotize you so that even if you want to hang up, you still sit through the sales pitch, despite the fact that your dinner is getting cold.
Why don't you just admit that's what you're doing, calling Canadians and hassling them? People who are on the do not call list want you to stop. They've had it.
Do you agree with our list? Which profession gives you nightmares or the shivers?
The sawdust quiets the ears and lets the engine run as sweet as a nut for a couple of miles.
Daddy, that's cheating.
For more angst-ridden top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
And that's the game! Nothing further, Your Honor.